idea that you talk about London, but with the Members you toured the whole world. You were
Yeah.
one of the first punk bands to do that.
We were the first punk band to go to New Zealand. That was quite funny actually, because we'd gone to the States the first time, and that was kind of, I remember Barry Masters, you know, from the Hotrods, telling me, oh, you went to go to America, Tesco, you will love it, it's like totally different world. And Paul Gray, who played with us, actually went on to play with us for a couple of tours, who's a lovely guy, saying, oh yeah, it's a different world, you know, well, you know, because you're always chasing after girls when you're in a band, and they're like, you know, get to America and there's none of that, they chase after you in Cadillacs, and you go, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it was kind of true, you know, but you kind of go over there, and apart from, say, you know, the New York and so where we initially went, you go out and you start playing these gigs, and there are people at tables drinking. It's kind of like, you know, the whole American bar band syndrome, and all you really are is another bar band passing through. So that kind of like, whoa, that was all a bit weird, you know. And invariably you'd win it around, because suddenly they'd realise that actually this was British punk rock, and it was all a bit more exciting, and the tables get kicked back and everyone go, you know, a bit crazy. But all the same, you know, actually, you know, name drop, the first time I met Bruce Springsteen, we played this place in Asbury Park called the Stone Pony. Yeah. And that was the first time we played one of those sort of gigs, you know, where we'd gone in and the tables were there, and people were sitting at the table with pitchers of beer, and we go on and we're kicking it off, and we're like, yeah, 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 yeah. And finally, you know, they all get up and we have a great gig, and we backstage afterwards telling ourselves, going, whoa, you know, God, is this what America's going to be like? A bit weird. And you know, and our tour manager's at the door, he said, oh, someone wants to come in and say hello. And but you know, our tour manager Huey, we were all kind of quite big Springsteen fans, but we only really knew him from the Born to Run album, where he had the beard and all that. And so he said, oh, this guy wants to come in, and so we're all, what, no girls? Well, no, I'm afraid not. You know, oh God, all right, let him in. And this guy walks in with his beer, and he comes, hi, great gig, guy. We were looking at him, and like our mouths hit the floor. You know, Jesus, it's fucking Bruce Springsteen. And he actually stayed in touch with us, you know, for a couple of years. You know, when he'd come to the UK, he'd get in touch. But it was kind of like that first tour of the States was very... You didn't even really feel you're making a ripple. You didn't even think you were being noticed or anything. So at the end of it, we went to New Zealand. So we'd finished up in LA, and we had a good time. You know, you always have a good time in America, and JC and I start drinking bourbon.
JC?
JC's, you know, was kind of my co-writer for a lot of the songs, wrote Offshore Banking Business and various other songs.
What was his name? Johnny?
Jean-Marie Carroll. Yeah. The produce of a Belgian father who was a fighter pilot in the last war, who was a fabulous bloke. And an Irish mum, so he's got like all these brothers, and they alternate from an Irish name to like a French Belgian name, or a French name to an Irish name, and so on. But you know, he was brother number 2, Jean Marie. But so you can understand, growing up with the name Jean Marie, you call yourself JC. That's, you know, and so JC and I on the plane, we'd been upgraded as well, which is nice. So we're sitting there drinking miniatures of Jack Daniels and playing 3-card brag, and for the entire flight we pretty much played brag, read pornography and drank bourbon. So by the time we arrived at Auckland, we were pretty caned. And we kind of thinking, well, we've got here, we'll just be able to go to the motel and crash out. And the New Zealand label were there to meet us, and
straight on TV?
Yeah, they said, oh guys, okay, we got your bags, limos are outside. What? You know, yeah, limos, you know, oh great, we'll take you back to the hotel, freshen up, and then it's press conference. What? Press conference? What do you mean? We just assumed, well, yeah, couple of fanzines and a newspaper, maybe, you know. We turn up, there's TV, radio, the lot, you know, and it's this brilliant thing they've got. You know, this huge range of seafood. First off, though, we stopped at the motel. This had freshened up, and we had like the kitchenettes. And you, as you do, you immediately start opening everything to see. And we opened the fridge, and it was full of beer. And we were like, "Oh my God, you know, we've arrived." And the promoter was chatting to us. And originally we were supposed to have done several nights at the Auckland Town Hall, which was quite a big gig. And then he'd got cold feet and thought, "Oh, you know, I'm really sticking my neck out. It's the first British punk band. Come to New Zealand, you know, I might get stuck here." So he'd moved it to like I think it's about an 1800 capacity club for 2 nights. Fair enough, you know. I think in the end he managed to squeeze 2 shows a day out of us, but he was talking to me at the end of the press conference, looking very, he said, "Well, I could have booked you for a month in the other place." And it was like, you know, because the demand for tickets had been huge, because everyone wanted to see what it was like. And after the first night, we got the papers, and it was just, you know, it was like, you know, their equivalent of the Telegraph or something like that. And you know, on page 3, the big picture on page 3 was a picture of me stood on the monitors with Nigel, the lead guitar player, with his guitar up above his head on the monitors as well, you know, and all these kids looking like they were waves crashing onto the stage, and it just said, you know, "British Punk Delivers," and I don't have that cutting, unfortunately, but oh, wow, that's great, you know. And of course then it was open house for the members, which was very welcome. And then on to Australia, which was kind of, had seen other bands. I mean, we still did really good there, and I wish we'd gone back more. We ended up having a #1, I think, out there with a song called Radio. But no, I really liked all that. I regret never getting to go to like Japan and Latin America, because I mean these days loads of bands, even like, you know, the kind of what you could call, I don't know, the heritage bands, I suppose. Like Nigel's playing with the Vibrators these days, and you know, they're going to China, you know, because there's a punk scene in China, and they're going to Latin America, and you know, it's hard work for the guy. I mean, he's our age, and it's kind of, but he's, you know, they look after themselves, and you know, they all play.